Hello and welcome to my channel. My name's Tanya and this is Just Let Me Sew. Thank you so much for coming back if you have already been to my channel, and welcome if you are new. Thank you for joining me. I want to start off today's vlog by remembering to do a small channel shout out. So this is for vloggers that have less than 2,000 subscribers, and it's a really nice way for us to be able to support vloggers, the smaller channels, and trying to increase our subscribers and our views, which is ultimately what pushes YouTube to show their videos to more people. And I want to do a shout out today for a channel called Erin Sews. She is based over in America. She does some really lovely makes. She's just recently been working on a really cute little Halloween outfit for her daughter. She's been making her a little blueberry outfit, which is really cute. So do go over to Erin's channel and watch some of her videos. Very talented sewer. Let me also start off by saying what I am wearing, which I am going to talk about in more detail in a minute. It is by Made for Mermaid, or Made for Mermaids patterns, and it is the Venice Henley top. There are different variations you can make. You can do a bodysuit, which is the one that I've made up. You can do a cropped version or just a normal t-shirt as well, and then obviously you can change the length of the sleeves. You can have a lower cut v-neck, which I went for, or you can have a higher version as well if you want to. I'll carry on talking about this now actually while it's fresh in my mind. I made this up thinking that it would be a nice quick easy sew to get on with after just having finished my Nova coat, which I'll talk about in a minute. And unfortunately, I just couldn't get my head around a couple of the instructions and the pattern. I don't know if it was me. You know, sometimes you read instructions a good few times and you just, well, I personally just can't twig what they mean. As well, the pattern instructions, they don't have graphics as their pictures, they're all photos. And the thing that I found quite difficult with that was that the photos were using fabrics with quite a busy print. So I couldn't really see where the stitch line was on some of them, particularly had issues around the placket. So the button placket here, if I stand up and you can see, you can notice a little bit when I sort of let it hang naturally, there is a little bit of puckering there. I don't want to waffle on too much about it, but for me, I found it quite tricky because they have you do a 1/4 inch stay stitch all around the opening before you start working on it. The placket pieces, you are then meant to extend 1/2 inch from where the stay stitching snip is, which I think means you then only, in theory, have a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you sew on your placket, you then have to flip one over the other, turn it to the reverse, pinch the placket and the actual bodice together, and then you sort of sew along the 3 layers, so your 2 placket pieces and the bodysuit, with a 1/4 inch, which I found very fiddly. Perhaps as well I hadn't done my stay stitching line so accurately because I didn't know that that was then going to be your stitch line as well. So I found the instructions a little bit confusing there. So it looks a little bit messy. I'm not sure if anyone else can really notice it, but for me it feels a little bit messy. So when I make this again, which I definitely will, I'll pay more attention to that placket and have a think about how to do it. If you have sewn a t-shirt stretch fabric with a placket similar to this before, I would really appreciate it if you put in the comments below any tutorials or tips you can point me in the direction of to help me get my head around this. I had to do a placket for the McCall's M8240, which I mentioned in a previous video. I'll put the link above to that video. And the placket installation was similar, but I didn't find it as difficult. I'm not sure why. The instructions may have been different. I need to go back and compare, but if anyone has any top tips on how to insert a stretch fabric placket, I would really appreciate it. Thank you. A couple of other things I want to mention about this pattern. I can't remember if I said it's the Venice Henley pattern. The sleeves, I did the size blue, and the sleeves come up quite tight. I've got quite slim wrists, and that is quite tight. You see there, it is quite tight to my skin. Again, I haven't got like very muscly arms either, and it's quite tight. So you might want to look at that if you think about making up this pattern. And the final thing I want to mention as well, I did the bodysuit version. I've never made a bodysuit before, and this one has you use hook and eye tape for the closure at the bottom, which I sewed on, and I soon realised that's really uncomfortable. You do not want to be wearing that as a bodysuit. Very rigid tape. So I removed that and fashioned my own sort of facing to strengthen the fabric and inserted poppers. If I make this again, like I said, I probably will make it again because I do like it ultimately. I would add a little bit more to the bodysuit, because the hook and eye, by taking that out, you're taking away about an inch. So you do have to stretch it that little bit more to get it closed, if that makes any sense. Sorry if that was a lot of rambling. But other than that, I do like it. I think it's a nice pattern. Just a few issues that I need to work through. I did reach out to Made for Mermaids on their Instagram account to ask about I think it was the placket that I was struggling with. I didn't hear anything back from them. Someone also suggested their Facebook page is very good, so I went onto their Facebook page and I could see loads of posts of people who had made this top up in the bodysuit, but no one had mentioned any issues with the placket, and it looked like they'd all done it fine, which made me think it was just me. I couldn't get my head around it. But I don't know about you, but I find sometimes reviews of patterns are just all positive, and you don't often hear comments or things that people struggled with on the reviews. I was watching Lost My Thread the other day, Teresa, and it was so refreshing to hear her do her Clash of the Patterns that she's doing recently for wrap dresses, because she's so honest in her reviews about the things that she struggles with. And you know when you're sewing something and you're just like, I don't get it. I don't understand what they mean. And you look at other people's reviews and they just don't mention anything. You think it's just you. Anyway, maybe it is just me. So that is what I'm wearing. That's what I've just finished making. Overall, pleased with it. The second thing that I've made up was just really a palette cleanser, because this just fried my brain a little bit too much when it really wasn't supposed to. And I just made up a jumper for my youngest, my little daughter. She is 4, soon going to be 5. She needed a new jumper for the winter. So I got her some pink fleece back alpine sweater. You can see inside it's so soft and snuggly. And then I used some lilac colour ribbing that I had in my stash already, and a little label. I can't remember the name of the company I got this from. I will link it down below. It's just a plain heart. It's got it on both sides, so you could have it on a side seam if you wanted to as well. Very sweet. Yeah, so nice, quick, easy. I self-drafted that just by tracing around another jumper that she already had and just made it a little bit bigger for her to grow into as well. So no pattern used for that one. I just traced around one of her existing jumpers. And then the final thing I want to talk about, one of my makes, is my Nova coat. So let me show you. I have been talking about this coat for quite some time now, and it is finished. I will insert a picture of me wearing it, and I am so pleased with it. Super snuggly, really, really warm, lovely coat. To add to the snuggliness, I added on some cuffs. So I added that when I was sewing the lining and the sleeve facing together. I just slotted some ribbing inside. You can see it's attached to the lining and the sleeve facing, and it just means it's that a little bit cozier. The Nova coat is meant to be oversized and the sleeves do hang a little bit, but by having that cuffing, you're just closing the sleeve up a little bit so the breeze doesn't get down your sleeves. So if you see I've got the sleeve on there, that cuffing just makes it a little bit cozier for me. What else did I add? I did a little hook and added a little rosy cheeks label. I am unique. I guess with coats it's probably not the best thing to hang it by a hook because it would distort the coat, pull it out of shape a little bit. But you know, you're out and about and sometimes they don't have hangers, or you don't want to put it over the back of a chair, you want to hang it up. That's always good to have, isn't it? So do that. I've mentioned in my previous vlogs which fabrics I have used for this. This was a poly coating fabric, coat fabric, which I got quite a long time ago from Poundometer. So I'm afraid they don't have that in stock anymore. And then the lining is a Japanese Cupro lining from Rainbow Fabrics, which I got last summer. I went to visit their shop up in Kilburn and they had it in the shop. I don't think I saw it online, but it's not in stock anymore. I couldn't see it on their website, so that has gone. But yeah, really, really pleased with this coat. I love it. What I do want to add is some poppers, and I have bought some large poppers because I do like to have coats done up in the winter. I like to be nice and snuggly. But before I add the poppers on, I want to have a chance of wearing it a few times to feel where I would need them. I don't want them around the neck because I like that stand collar just sort of pops open a little bit. I quite like that. But perhaps one around the pocket, one a little bit higher up as well. So I'm going to wear that for a bit before I decide where I want those poppers. But really, really pleased with that. Love it. And what I am working on at the moment, this was a bit of a mess up on my part, and it is a lesson to not cut into fabric when you are feeling tired and not able to concentrate properly. I mentioned last vlog that I had bought the Winnie pants pattern, also from Made for Mermaids, and I had bought some lovely green French terry from First for Fabrics, and I ordered, I think, just 1.5 meters, laid out my fabric a couple of nights ago and got my pattern pieces out. First thing I realised was I had not bought enough fabric. These are very wide leg joggers style trousers, and the back pattern piece in particular is really, really wide, and there was no way I could Tetris it to get the pattern into the fabric. So I thought, right, what am I going to do? They're really wide. I'll just take some of the width out, just have them a little bit narrower, and I'll do something that way. It's stretch fabric, so I'm sure it's not the end of the world. I brought down another pair of joggers I already have and could see that I had plenty of room to take some of that width out. It would be okay. So I suppose that was occupying my mind of how I was going to get this pattern out the fabric. I was thinking about that so much that I didn't even notice which way I'd lay the fabric out. And I had laid the fabric out in the wrong direction of stretch. So when you're making trousers, you want the stretch to be horizontal. I had it going vertically. And I didn't realise until I'd cut out my first leg piece. So it was too late to go back. If I'd done, sort of swiveled it round by that point, I didn't have enough fabric to do that, but it would have been quite obvious and it probably would have messed it up a bit. So I thought, right, I'm just going to carry on cutting it out. There is still a little bit of stretch horizontally, not as much as I'd like, but there is some. I'm just going to sew them up, not go to town on all my measuring of seams and finishing, just to see how it turns out. It might be okay. They might be a little bit snug, but I might be able to salvage it. But all in all, those pants kind of feel a little bit cursed. First of all, I didn't order enough fabric, and then second of all, I totally messed up how I cut them out. Has that ever happened to you before, where you've just not been in the right headspace and made a total mess of something? I hope it has happened to other people out there, because I'm sounding like a bit of a disaster at the moment. Anyway, so I have now ordered some more fabric. I went for a heavier weight Ponte Roma, which is what I originally was looking for anyway. I think it's myfabrics.co.uk had a 30% offer on I think it was the weekend for Halloween. Go check them out if it's still running, myfabrics.co.uk. I think they are based on Europe and the mainland, but the postage is about £4.95, I think, and it was 30% off, which was great. So I ordered myself some new fabric, and I also got some denim and corduroy for other trousers that I'm hoping to make in the autumn winter as well. So hopefully I will have learnt my lesson from that mess up, and second time round I will cut it all out correctly, and I've ordered 2.5 meters this time, so there's surely no room to not be able to get the pattern, if that makes sense. So that was everything that I really wanted to talk to you about. I'm just checking my notes. I think that was everything. One last thing I did want to mention was, don't forget about the long sleeves 23 challenge, which is still going on. I think the last day is today. Hopefully I will get this vlog out today, which is the 31st. Happy Halloween. You just literally need to submit a make that you have made in October with long sleeves, and use the hashtag longsleeves23 and tag the Sewing Warehouse in your post as well. Thank you so much for watching. A really quick whistle stop tour today, sorry, of all the things that I've made. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed watching, please could you hit the like button, and if you would also consider subscribing, I would really appreciate that. I was having a little snoop around in my YouTube analytics, and it's quite cool. You can see lots of different information about your video and who's watched it, and 60% of people who watch this video aren't subscribed to my videos. So if you would like to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. It would be wonderful to have you on my channel more regularly. Anyway, I will stop rambling. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good week and manage to get some sewing done, and I will see you soon. Bye.